Hi, Brook Avenue teachers and staff. Thank y'all for joining me for a quick training, just reviewing the way that we are creating our school culture in our building, making this a place where our students feel loved, feel safe, and want to be. I've seen so many great examples throughout the year of how we're doing this, and I want to look at exactly what it is that our teachers do in their classes to make this happen. First part we're going to look at is ratio of positive interactions. I know we've done a lot on ratio of positive interactions. Y'all have been trainings with me, trainings with the district. So I just want to review it real quickly and then jump into what it is our teachers are doing to put this into action on our campus. Reminder, this is 3-to-1 positive to corrective interactions. We want this across the classroom and also for each individual student. This is the most powerful tool in our toolbox. There's nothing that I can do or that you can do with your students that is more likely to have a greater effect than making sure that we are really building those positive interactions in, putting money in the bank so that when we do have to correct, we've built that relationship and the student can rely on that and we can rely on that to lead to success in our classroom. One thing we can do to kind of take this next step that we haven't talked about as much is looking at specific versus general positive interactions. We've talked about this a lot, but that's new, as well as just a reminder that we want this ratio for each kid. And a lot of time our toughest kids are going to need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-to-1 instead of 3-to-1. And while we've got a ton of classrooms that have now reached that 3-to-1 goal, and all of us are moving in the right direction and focusing on it, we've seen from some of y'all as well that that 3-to-1 is a great spot, but it's also not the end. We can get to 5-to-1 or 10-to-1. And the more positive interactions to corrective, the stronger those relationships are going to be in our classroom. The district goal is for 90% of classrooms per campus to be at a 3-to-1 ratio. We're not quite there, but as we'll see on our graph in a little bit, we're getting close and we don't have too far to go, and we're making great progress. So a quick review of these are the graphs from the 3 different observations that I've done over the past year or so. We can see on the first one, we had about a third that were negative or less than 3-to-1 or in that blue range is 3-to-1. Then last year from January to February, we saw a huge jump where we have a majority of our classes that are in that blue part on the graph. That is 3-to-1, which is where we want to be. And then again, looking this year, we see that there's only one class that was below a positive ratio, and that even more classes moved into that 3-to-1 goal. So we want the graph to be moving to the right side and going higher, and it's doing that every time because y'all are doing what you need and taking this back into the classroom. So looking at how we do it at Brook Avenue to create this positive climate and make our students feel welcomed and build those relationships. Ms. Grafflin, in her class, I've noticed that she uses procedures as a chance to do lots of positive interactions. As she does callbacks with the class, as they move through transitions, she's constantly noticing which kids are doing what they need to. And, we may only be moving from one group to the next, but she's hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 positive interactions as students move in just a matter of moments, which really is able to build that ratio in the class and lets the students know, okay, if I'm taking care of business, I'm going to get the attention I'm looking for it. In Ms. Wentz class, I've noticed a lot of specific praise. They were doing a lesson where a student was saw on the board in the classroom one of the words she was working for. They used that and she was right up, oh, you're using a resource in the classroom. That's letting the students know exactly what they did right. If we say good job, that's positive, but a student might not be sure exactly why they received the praise. By getting specific with the work that they're doing or the procedure that they're following, it helps them know exactly what they have to do to get that praise the next time. In so many of our classrooms, I see the teachers greeting at the door. That helps our kids get the day started off right. There was another time earlier this year, I'm downstairs in the morning and I saw a student just standing perfectly still, just right outside of a first grade classroom. And I kind of checked, hey, everything okay? He goes, oh, I'm just waiting for my greeting. Like he knew that his day starts when he gets greeted by the teacher and that's something that he's willing to stand by the door and wait for because that's how he gets his day going right. With Miss Teachin, I've seen that she is able to follow up quickly with the student. As she fluently corrects, I've seen her come right back around as soon as they fix it, giving them the positive, letting them know they got back on track. And that's working to make sure that she keeps the ratio with more positives than correctives for each student. Mr. Brewster is always making sure that his class keeps up with the common area compliments. So if I give them a horseshoe, he's always right there noticing, oh, y'all got a compliment, remind me of that when we come back into class, which means they get the positive from me, they get a positive from him, and they get that positively reinforced when they come back into the classroom later. So the biggest takeaway from this, as always, is we get what we pay attention to, and that positive interactions are the most powerful tool in our toolbox. Moving next to opportunities to respond and looking at how we do that on our campus. Just a quick review, the goal is 40 per 10 minutes. This sounds high at first, but half the staff are at this mark when I did the observation earlier this year. Well, it's huge growth from last year across the district. I don't think I've seen anybody else that has shown reaching that, and so it really shows that when y'all are putting your minds on something, focusing on what you're doing and how you're doing it, that we see huge responses. And that is fantastic for our students, helping keeping them engaged in class. Opportunities to respond are one of the most powerful indicators of student learning. And if students are engaged with opportunities to respond, then there's less time for them to get bored or act out. We can see who is engaged on task because we're either hearing it verbally or with hand motions or voting with your body moving around. That helps us see which students are engaged. And oftentimes, and these are normally core responses or class-wide, pair responses, and individual responses sometimes. Here our graphs are for opportunities to respond. Again, starting last year, most classes were less than 20. Into just January, February last year, most were over 20, but we still hadn't quite got to that 40. And earlier this year, looking with nearly half of our campus at the 40 per 10 minutes, which is really just incredible growth. And again, looking at how we do it on our campus. In Miss Wentz class, I've seen her doing vocabulary where each word is getting broken down into its parts. Students are repeating back each word, doing it 2 or 3 times, moving on to the next word. And so in just a matter of minutes, while they're learning vocabulary, they're getting 6 or 8 or 10 opportunities to respond in a very short period of time, and that's keeping the students engaged. In Ms. Grafflin's class, she does callbacks with transitions. Who's moving to which group? Calling out students' names. The whole class repeats back which students those are, where they're going. Then that's a lot of opportunities to respond in a short period of time, and transitions are one of the toughest things to kind of keep a class engaged, and that keeps her whole class in so that they're able to transition more smoothly. Ms. Teachin, part of that going around and making sure she's catching up on the students who she had to correct is she's also moving quickly and giving individual feedback during work time, giving opportunities to respond, scaffolding the work that they're doing. And so even though they're working individually, the class is constantly staying engaged as she moves through. Ms. Lloyd does a TikTok callback that I'm not going to attempt to do here. But that's, keeping the class engaged. That's a fun way. I hear, there's kind of some joy and laughter I notice when I walk by the class and they're doing it because they really enjoy it. So finding a way to give an opportunity to respond that kind of meets the kids where they're at. Ms. Davis, in talking with her, she's noticed that as the class has done more callback opportunities to respond, the students are retaining the procedures better, learning those, and also retaining more of their academic work that's involving opportunities to respond and callback. And in Ms. Ireton's class, I've noticed lots of pair share opportunities. She's talking on her mic, turn and talk. Students are able to, everybody get engaged in each one, back to her, at the next question she has, back to a pair share. Keeping the students having opportunities without, not getting too bored and speaking in a group as well as responding back to her. I've went pretty fast. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but I just want to say a fantastic job from all of our teachers all over the campus of making the school your own, taking care of your class to make sure that it is the most welcoming place possible and that our students are able to learn. So thank you for everything you do. Y'all are doing a fantastic job, and I'm always looking out for more things to get noticed and get excited about as we go. Thank you. Have a great day.